You're tuned into We Talk Radio Network.
Out of my mind, you're out of luck and out of time to have treated me so unkind. I can't take this no more, rather be walking out that door. Now you know how hurt burns. It's like a curse, killing the desire. You've left the game, and now you're fired. You are not my friend. You're not my lover or a good man. You've been fooled if you believed that I still love you, but it's over now. I've tried to convince myself in believing your lies. Oh, why? It's been years, and the same old you is still living here. I can't take this no more, rather be walking out that door. Now you know how hurt burns. It's like a curse, killing the desire. No more. You've left the game, and now you're fired. You're not my friend. You're not my lover or a good man. You've been fooled if you believed that I still love you, but it's over now. I've tried, but I failed. You never loved me. It's time that I moved on, setting you free. You should be ashamed, leaving me in all of this pain, without nothing to ever say. Broken hearted, I have nothing to gain, nothing to gain. I tried, but I failed, and you never loved me. I will set you free. I'll be setting you free. Oh, set you free. You should be ashamed. All of this pain, without nothing to ever explain. I am gone, and I am never coming back. I am gone, and I am leaving you all alone. I'm never coming back home. No more, no way, no you and I won't take you no more. Now you are not my friend.
Welcome back to We Talk Radio. It's Kia D and the Hot Topic panel.
I love that intro. Welcome to the incredible and amazing Wednesday night show. This is After the Lights Go Out on We Talk Radio Network. It's an extraordinary show. If this is your first time here, please sit down, relax, get you some wine or water or grapes or strawberries. Listen, get you some chicken wings. I don't care. We're going to have some fun tonight, okay? The Hot Topic panel is going to be here later on in the show. As a matter of fact, they are ready. Actually, they're here getting geared up and ready for all of the incredible hot topics that we're going to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, a lot happening. But tonight, first, you know, every blue moon I bring in a very special guest. And I told y'all last year that 2020 was going to be the year where I brought in the best of the best of the best guests only. And tonight is one of those beautiful nights. We've got an amazing young lady that's going to be joining us, the beautiful Keamichaels, also known as Kia. Now listen, she does have my exact same name except for she has an E in the middle and I have an I in the middle. All right, I want y'all to go follow her, Keamichaels. So while I'm doing talking about her, go follow her right now. Okay. Since 2017, she's been an independent soul singer and songwriter, and she has been steadily building a devoted following over the global urban adult contemporary airwaves, with a series of well-received singles reflecting her soul-piercing, heart-penetrating music perspectives on agape, love, romance, and heartbreak. So it's no wonder her forthcoming EP is entitled Relationships. Now, that's a subject she plumbs with more sensitivity, candor, and feminine introspection. She was raised in Pittsburgh to some incredible parents, and we're going to talk about her parents. Her father was a singer and guitarist, and her mother was a violinist, and of course she, got this extraordinary intimate relationship and love for music, of course, being around her parents and all of the amazing things that she did and got to be a part of. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute as well. Her debut single, I Love You, which I absolutely love. Y'all got to go check that out. I Love You. It actually came to her one night inspired in 2015, and I actually want her to tell you about that night. We're gonna talk about that night here in a minute. It was inspired by our beautiful daughter, and I want her to tell you about that story tonight. And it's just beautiful, beautiful story on how that very first song, the very first thing you wrote, which was when she sat down to write a poem. It was like she said it was like a lullaby, and it was for one of her daughters, and she's going to tell us why tonight. She actually returned with her second single entitled Not My Friend. It's a smooth, engaging groove with a pretty melody about women making decisions to disconnect from a relationship that is not healthy for her. Women, we relationships a lot too long. This song right here you need to put on repeat. This song addressed a man who was verbally and emotionally abusive, controlling, and non-communicative, and self-centered over a period of time. And so we're going to talk about that song, Not My Friend, as well. I love that song. That beat that is so melody and jazzy. It's crazy. Promising more provocative songs with intriguing titles such as Black Man, Black Beauty, and Pieces of a Man, Kia's goals are for mainstream international success, and she is on her way. She has performed in her hometown of Pittsburgh, extraordinary events there, countless events there, including venues such as Channel 11 News Holiday Parade, the Stars at Riverview Jazz Series, the 2018 Wine Festival, the Explore East Liberty 2018 Wine Festival, and the Harambe Festival, Black Festival, just to name a few. She is absolutely amazing. With the completion, of and release of her EP Relationships, Kia's mission is to change the lives of everyone who hears her smooth and classic voice by conveying a sense of hope in these times that have suddenly become more urgent and disturbing than anyone could ever imagine. Her voice is warm. Her voice is compassionate. Her voice is the ever-changing voice for these women in the 20s, the ever-emerging women's voice of the 20s. Please help me welcome tonight the beautiful and amazing soulful singer and songwriter, urban contemporary artist, the beautiful Keamichaels. How you doing, Queen?
Oh, my Lord.
are incredible. You have no idea. You are absolutely amazing. Your music is amazing. It's timeless. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Timeless music, absolutely timeless. In 50 to 100 years, your music's still going to be playing, and it's still going to be bumping. It's timeless. That kind of music. We're going to talk about that too. How are you tonight, Queen?
Oh, my goodness. I am so thankful. I'm thankful. I feel blessed. This introduction, it just blows me away. And I'm feeling good. And I'm talking to another Kia. So, I mean, I couldn't have a better night.
I love it. I love it. You know what? God is so good. Even if we complain, I just don't even know if anybody would even really listen. You know, they'll put an ear to it. But they ain't going to be listening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even complain.
You're so
anyway.
right. Yes.
I'm just saying. Keeping it real. Listen, I want to talk tonight about you. You're so amazing, the things that you've done in your life, and this is really just the beginning. Just the beginning. You've just done such an amazing job with all of the great things, all of the great music, and the holiday treat that you gave us, and for the fans, all kinds of great things that you do. But I really want to start in the beginning. You know, when you were a little girl, music is the heart of you. But is it really what you wanted to do? Was there something else you really wanted to do? Were you forced into this? Or I say forced lightly, right? But is there anything else that you really desire to do that you just really maybe didn't get to do when you were a little girl, and then music just kind of overtook your heart?
Well, I wanted to be an artist. I grew up drawing since the age of 2, and art and sketching and being able to draw people such as you or anybody, being able to sketch you was always a big love of mine. So my dream was to be an artist. And following that, I don't know how to put it, but the music fit in the middle of that. And then there was my love for law enforcement and I know, law enforcement and activism. So it was kind of weird. It was I wanted to be a black activist because black rights were always something big to me ever since I was probably maybe 11 or 12 years old. Very strange, but I used to go to school and talk about different issues and try to bring us together. And so those 4 things were something to me: art, music, black rights, and law enforcement.
Wow.
I know.
You feel like
it's crazy?
Do you feel like maybe one of those things you could possibly still do? Law enforcement is one of those things right now. I just don't know if I could be in it. I don't know if I could do it. It's crazy nowadays. Just you know, being a part of that whole situation, I just don't know if I could even put myself in the shoes.
You are, Kia, my goodness gracious, you are absolutely right. I think God called me out of that because I was going to school to be a police officer, and I had to get so many credits. And at the time, I knew some police officers, and they were really encouraging me to join because there was such a lack of black women and black police officers, period. So at the time, I was gung-ho on it, even though I had music in the back of my mind, or music was always there, but at the time I had ended up falling and injuring myself. So I think that was God's way of saying, no, this is not for you. This is not where you want to be, because you stand between law enforcement and then you stand in proxy for your people. And when you would probably go against the police force and probably end up murdered or targeted, because there's no way that I would stand to see any injustice against my people. So I think God allowed for me to fall one day, injured myself so bad, and I really couldn't go back into it. I really couldn't finish what I had started. So then the music came. Even though the music had always been there, it just was put on hold. It was put on hold until, I'm going to say 2015. No. It was put on hold until I think in 2009, I started to pursue it, started to really bug me, and I said, yeah, this I've learned. When you're always rethinking the same thing over and over again, that means that it's meant for you to do. And so it was probably in 2008, maybe around that time, I sought out a vocal coach, and I said, okay, Kia, I need to go full force, because at that time I was writing. I had been writing music for years. My song called Black Men, Black Man was written back in probably around 2012. Never released, never recorded, but I did write it. Black Beauty was written around maybe 2014.
Wow.
So the music was always there. In 2008 or 9, I had an epiphany. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what took me over, but I saw a vocal coach. Her name was Elaine. She was a wonderful woman, but the problem was I was into R&B and soul music, and she was more jazz affiliated, American classics, but I worked with her for a couple of years. I worked with her, probably for more than a couple of years. We became very close. She was like a mom to me. She taught me a lot, and I ended up at that time, probably between 2008 and 2011, I couldn't get out to her because she lived a distance. And so my vehicle was down, just to be honest. And so I needed to find somewhere else to go, because I said, okay, Kia, now is not the time to stop. I can't get out to her. So I found it was a place called the Jazz Workshop, Inc., and they provided music instruction, vocal training, instrumentation if you wanted to learn how to play guitar, piano, wind instrument. So I enrolled in that program, and I was probably in that program just for a semester, but I enrolled in there, and I continued taking vocal training, and at that time I had picked up playing the bass guitar, and then I had I was invited to join a gospel choir, which I knew nothing about. Didn't grow up in a church or anything like that, honestly. Just the complete opposite. And joined a gospel choir. Didn't stay long. It was just all over the place, very unorganized. But to make a long story short, I dropped playing the bass guitar and just focused on singing. Stayed in that workshop for like a semester. Started going out, sitting in with bands, Kia, and I didn't sit in with bands long. I sat in probably could have been maybe a year or less than a year before I decided to build my own repertoire, have my own list of songs that I love, and that I would love to sing and that people would really gravitate towards. And I started hiring musicians, and I started booking gigs. And that's where it all began. So I started booking the gigs and everything like that. That probably was maybe around 2010. So it wasn't long.
Tenacity.
And then
she said, I'm not getting up.
Because you know what? I don't play. I said, and I'm still the same way now. I'm very determined, very motivated. I'm no nonsense, and I'm very serious-minded. And at that time, I was just like, okay, Kia. I was sitting in with these bands, and I was hearing the first years, with you. But with so I said, you know what, Kia? I could do this. And plus, in the midst of performing or sitting in with these bands, that people, I didn't know what the heck they were talking about, because I was just sitting in, just trying to get the stage, trying to get through, being, fearful and everything like that. And at that time, it didn't hit me. but I was kind of like, God is speaking to me through them. Kia, you got to find yourself. Well, first of all, you got to get out here, and you got to build a band, or you got to hire some musicians, get out here and start performing, and then it's going to be time for you to branch off into getting your originals, and getting them produced. So that's where it took me. It took me from performing, art galleries, restaurants, annual events, which I love the best. I love annual events, private events, parties, nursing homes, and then I got to the point to where I was sitting on my own original music key. I said, Lord have mercy. I said, I have to find a way to get my original songs put out there. And I didn't know where to begin. I began searching. This was probably around 2014. I was searching and searching. I was still performing at the time. I was searching locally, and I couldn't find anybody. I couldn't find a producer. But lo and behold, I went to a local church, and that was my first time there. It was God that directed me to go to that church because it was so funny. After service was over, I was standing in the pews, and I had met a young lady there that shared her music with me, and she ended up being the pastor's daughter, and she could sing, and I said, well, who did this music? Who did the instrumentation? And then that led me to the producer for my first song, I Love You. It was crazy. It was nothing but divine. Who in the world goes to a church? Who's looking around for a producer prior to going to a church? And then they go to a church and end up talking to the pastor's daughter, and then ends up with a producer. It normally doesn't happen like that. So I knew that was nothing but God. So I had ended up meeting this producer, and he ended up being the minister of music at one of the biggest church here in Pittsburgh. And I met with him. I brought my originals, and actually I had a couple of songs at the time, and we ended up putting together all the songs. However, I released the first one with him. Well, I released the first one. Yes, well, I'm going to say I released the first one with him as the producer, and that song is called I Love You.
Let's talk about I Love You. That is a beautiful testimony, especially now that we're going to actually talk about why the meaning of the song, the words behind the song, why you actually sat down and wrote this song, and who you wrote it about. Do you mind sharing that story with us tonight?
I don't mind at all. I used to sing I Love You to my youngest daughter that she turned 8 about a week ago. And I used to sing I Love You to her at night. And around that time, probably I'm not sure what month or what time of 2015, but it was in 2015 that my other daughter, which is her sister, was faced with a life-threatening situation with her kidneys. She was on hydronephrosis. I think I'm saying it right. And what that is it's a kidney disorder to where your kidneys aren't draining out. And what happens is they begin to fill up. And so what the doctors want to do at that time is they want to remove the kidneys. Or if you have 2 that needs to be removed, I mean, it's a very tough situation. And in this case, she had 1. And she had been in and out of the hospital ever since she was about 6 months old. At 6 months, she had her first surgery that was supposed to correct it, but it didn't correct it. So to make a long story short, we went on for years and years, and at the time she was probably around 13 or 14, and her belly looked like she was carrying triplets. I tried everything at home, holistic healing. There were things that I was doing as far as changing her eating habits, where I've always been conscientious when it comes to how to eat. And I, was giving her supplements, making sure that she was drinking lots of water, no processed foods or anything. to the point where her blood pressure was so high, it was about as high as somebody probably 50 years old. When they have high blood pressure, it was so high, and it was because of the kidney. So I had to make a decision whether to, because I was fighting, just to keep that kidney. But the doctor had said that if she didn't have it removed, and plus it was a lot of wear and tear on her. She was walking around with this belly weight, and she wasn't a big girl at all. She was kind of a slender girl, not slender, but a medium-built girl with this big stomach. She didn't have fat anywhere else, and everything was in her stomach. So I had to make a choice. And at the time, I was singing the "I Love You" lullaby to her youngest sister, and I ended up making that into a song for her prior to her surgery. The song touches base on someone that has love right in front of their face, but they're missing it because they're searching for love here and there. And it's all about, how do I put this into words? It's all about appreciating what you have. This song could be about a spouse. This song could even be about God. God's love for us, and how sometimes we're missing it because we're focusing here and there, and all along, love is right there. God is right there. Our spouse is right there. Our children are right there. And at the time, I was a mother that was juggling jobs, music. I remember going to school and working and being a mother and focusing on relationships with men. And everything started to go across my mind, like, Kia, did you fail her? Kia, were you focusing on her? Let's say she doesn't come out of this surgery okay. All along you were looking for a relationship here and there. Because I'm going to be real, I'm a woman, and, I believe I was built for marriage. And at the time, I was in and out of different relationships. And as a woman, we may not realize it, that when we are in and out of different relationships, even if it's one relationship, it could, if it's not working for us, it could work against us, and it could take our focus off of what it needs to be on, and that's our children. And that was running through my head, so I came up with the lyrics, and in the lyrics, I'm pretty much crying out to her, asking her for forgiveness. Sorry that I forgot what the one part was. I think it's in the bridge. I'm saying that I'm sorry. Basically, sorry that I didn't notice you then. Sorry, I've been searching and looking here and there, and all along it was right here, and it was you. And that pretty much sums it up for the song "I Love You."
Interesting how much we actually have in common, Kia, and our names is Kia. And seriously, it's so interesting how much we have in common. We have the exact same story. Just you did music, I did radio. So interesting. God spoke to me in 2008. God spoke to you in 2008. So interesting how things lined up for you. And our daughters are 10 years apart. My daughters are 10 years apart. Yeah, so funny.
So I want a song to really, speak to someone that's looking for love in all the wrong places, or someone that's in front of them. And that's why I bring it to relationships. Sometimes you got, you got these couples that are married, and the husband is looking here, or the wife is looking here, and they're not focusing on, person that part that God put there, hopefully, because we will. But sometimes they're not focusing on that partner, and then if something was to happen to the partner, then they would look back and they would live with so many different regrets. And I wanted that to be an eye opener for that's fine.
and it's an eye-opener for a lot of women and a lot of men who are tuned in tonight. If you are just tuning in, I have got to thank you so very much. This is the After the Lights Go Out radio show on We Talk Radio Network. I have the beautiful keamichaels with me tonight. She is an independent, tenacious, determined, and motivated soul singer and songwriter, and she is absolutely amazing in giving her heart to us tonight, and we truly appreciate it. We get to do a lot of interviews with a lot of people, but this one tonight is amazing. Seriously, this young lady's been doing amazing things, and her songs are so amazing, so profound. You've got to listen to this music. You can put it in while you're in the shower, while you're driving, while you're at work, trying to make some stuff happen. Put it on repeat and rotate it over and over again. I'm telling you, she's amazing. I want to talk about the new. Actually, let's talk about Not My Friend. There's so many people who make a lot of bad, toxic decisions when it comes to relationships, and Not My Friend actually addresses this song addresses a man who actually was abusive, controlling, emotionally, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and he was self-centered, he was controlling, he didn't communicate, and that happens a lot in relationships, and they become so toxic. And a lot of times, one of the things you said is we don't figure it out until we look in the rearview mirror, and it's like it's too late at that point. Let's talk about Not My Friend and why you really decided to write this particular song. If you don't want to get personal, you don't have to, but why did this song have to come out as your second single?
Well, at the time, I was working on songs like I Love You, or that music that you heard more probably in the late 80s, when you had Phil Simons, you needed Bakers, and so many others, like Vesta and so many others. And at the time, the producer said, hey, Kia, we got to come up with something that's more up-tempo. So I started singing Not My Friend to him. And he was like, so he gets on the piano. He's like, wait a minute, come down here. And so to make a long story short, we put that together. Matter of fact, I had it produced again out in New York with another producer because it didn't it wasn't done justice. So the producer I'm working with now was able to take the song and actually just make it into what you just played. I think it's nice. I think it's classy. But the reason why I wrote it was because of an experience that I had and the experiences of other women. I talked to a lot of women and men, and specifically, women that are going through or that have went through some of the same things. Sometimes we look at unhealthy, being in an unhealthy relationship as someone that's cheating on us in adultery or physical abuse. And that's not always the case. And I wanted to paint another picture of what unhealthy is. And unhealthy is someone that's very controlling. Unhealthy is someone that belittles you, talks down to you. Unhealthy is someone that's not kind to you. There's so many women here that are in relationships like that. There's so many women that are married to men like that. There's so many women that in these relationships and know how to come out. And they're there for year after year, and it's just a horrible and sad reality. And I wrote the song because I wanted, I was hoping and praying that those lyrics were really heartfelt, and people were listening to the lyrics, listening to the groove. And in that song, there's another cry. There's another cry, and the cry is, this has to stop. It is going to stop, and I'm gone. So in the song, that's why it's called Not My Friend. This is somebody that's made the conscious decision and choice to want better for her life. And now she knows her self-worth. And she's calling it quits. And she's telling this person, this song could go either way for women or for men and have the same kind of issues too. But I really wrote this thinking about women. But it's about making that decision and saying, look, I'm done. You're not my friend anymore. You're not my lover or a good man. Women, that you do not have to stay. You don't have to stay. Sometimes we're there, Kia. We're comfortable. We stay out of fear of not knowing what's next for us. Especially the folks that stay because of the age. They say the time's ticking. I don't believe that. That's a bunch of BS. But I just want people that are in unhealthy relationships to know that they'll be out. You don't have to stay.
You do not have to stay. There are so many programs and resources in the communities where you live. If you're a woman or a man or a child and you feel like you have been abused, you do not have to stay. We have an organization entitled Heals on the Move to Heal. Heals, HEELS, on the Move to Heal, HEAL. You can type that in if you're a woman, man, around the globe, child, if you're a family, it doesn't matter. Around the globe, if you feel like you have been in an abusive situation and you need help getting out, we have resources for you. There are also domestic violence hotlines. I'm going to get those numbers right now so that I can have those for you as well here in just a moment. So don't go anywhere. I also want you to put that song on repeat. If you need some motivation, that song, Not My Friend, you can find it right now on YouTube, Not My Friend by Keamichaels, K-E-A, Keamichaels. You can go there right now. Just put that bad boy on repeat, and that'll give you the strength every single time. Every single time. You are worth it. You are worth it. Always remember that. There are so many people around the globe. We don't know where they are, what they stand in the need of, but I know that there's a reason why you're on the show tonight, and I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate you sharing that with us because we know there are people that are suffering, and they're suffering in silence, and it can be so painful. I want to talk about the release of the new EP, Relationships. And let's talk about relationships. Yes, let's talk about all this new stuff you've got going on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Relationships is the EP, and I'm hoping for 6 songs on EP. I was initially starting with 3, but I said, okay, I think the people deserve and want more from me. And so I'm looking and I'm hoping to have that released this summer. But I'm going to say this, and I want you to hold me to it, Kia. In July, I'm going to drop another. Yeah, okay, hold me to it. In July, I'm going to drop another single off of the EP. So, yes, another single off the EP. There's 2, but I'm not going to give you what the name of the song is going to be called, but it's all about relationships. Relationships has everything to do about your relationship with someone, your relationship with God. That's what this EP is about. Your spiritual relationship, your relationship with others, and your relationship with yourself. And I think all 3 of those are very, very, very important. And I just want to, Kia, can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
Yes, I wanted to go, and I know you have Heels on the Move, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, my Lord Jesus. That's so me right there, at the Heels on the Move and everything that for it. But I want people to understand this, that abuse is not always physical. Abuse is abuse, whether physical or emotional. And I felt the need to say that because sometimes we draw a line and we say, well, you know what, so what if somebody calls me a name, I'm being called, a bitch or something like that, excuse my French, I'm being called this or that, or this person's not kind to me, they're not nice to me, and they're controlling to me, that's not abuse. I want you to know that is abuse. It doesn't always have to be physical. So I just wanted to make sure that people can get that, because sometimes we're focusing on the physical aspect of it. And what I'm talking about is domestic abuse, physical abuse, somebody beating somebody putting their hands, choking, grabbing. But I want us to understand that abuse is not always physical. And it still hurts the same way. Matter of fact, it hurts even more. Emotional abuse is it's one of the worst things in the world, because it's so hard to get past and get out of that state of mind. So I just want us to understand. I don't want us to disconnect both. I want us to understand that abuse comes in many forms and not just physical.
And there's also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this as well. If we could talk about, I don't want to leave this part out, spiritual abuse. I don't want to pull people away from the church and tell them, no, don't go to church. And that's not what I'm saying. But there are ways that husbands and wives as abusers will use God as a way to silence or put your finger on your partner, to keep them under your thumb. They will use God to do that. I have seen it happen before. So you have to be strong, know who you are and whose you are. And you can make it through. You will get out of this. You will make it out of this. And there are amazing resources around the globe. Do not think that you are too far away from resources. They are right next to you. They are right around the corner. And guess what? So are we. So are we. Even though we're in the state of Texas, we have authorization to travel around the globe to get you out of your home. We will work with whatever police department and agencies that are right there in your local area to get you removed from the home and get you placed in a shelter or somewhere safe. Trust me, there are ways out, and you do not have to go back. I'm so excited that you came on tonight, and we've got tonight the beautiful singer, songwriter, activist. That's right, the beautiful keamichaels. Let's talk about that activist side, because we touched on it briefly. I want to talk about that activist side, especially since right now things are happening the way they're happening with all the movements, the Black Lives Matter movement and all the movements that we have going on right now. Black versus blue, I think is what they're calling it now. You talked about years ago, you were in school to be a police officer, and you also talked about as a young girl being an activist and wanting to be an activist, and I know that is still in your heart. What are some of the things that you see that we could possibly do now to make change? How can we all come together? What are some of the things that we can do to come together to make this thing better? I can't say make America great again, because for us, America was never great.
Mm-hmm. You just said it. For us, America was never great. But what I believe can happen is some of the things that are happening now, going in and changing some of these laws, going in and policing the police, going in and whenever someone is going to be confronted with the police, that there's someone else there from some kind of social service agency. And it's so funny because that's something that I wanted to do years ago. I wanted to make sure that if anybody feels as if they're threatened by the police, if they're pulled over by the police, that you're just you're just a finger away from dialing a specific number to where somebody from some kind of social service is mandated to be there on the scene just for your protection. So it's so funny that I think they're trying to create something like that now. Some other things that we can do, I think there's so much that needs to happen. I think that funding for us as Black Americans, as Black people, funding for our businesses, housing has to change. I was looking into some things yesterday night, and I wasn't just learning this, but how Black Americans were turned down as far as for loans and things like that, and how it's been, systemically put in place to keep us right where we're at, struggling, even as far as startup businesses. There's a sister that has a cleansing product, a personal cleansing product. This is for women. It's called the Honey Pot, and she's a black woman, and how there was a lack of funding. There's so much of a lack of funding for us as Black Americans. There's so many things that have to change. How can we keep the dollars in the community? How can we rebuild our community if we're struggling? If we're turned down from this, we're turned down from this. Oh, I can't fund you. Oh, we need other resources to invest in us. We need other resources, and I don't even like to say the word invest because I feel like there's been so much that has been taken from us. There's so much that hasn't been afforded to us that there should be some kind of fund. I feel like we need to, what word do I want to use? I feel as if we need to be compensated. This is my personal opinion. Yes, I do. I feel like we need to be compensated for all the years that things haven't been afforded to us because of the color of our skin. Even school districts, we have to keep our kid in a feeder school. No matter if the school is dangerous, no matter what, but our kids have to say our kids can't go to this school, out of the district, and even if our kids can go to the school out of the district, we're paying astronomical fees, and not only are we paying astronomical fees, we are opening the door for our kids to be treated differently. This happened to my children. I put them in Christian school, and this is a long story, but I'll make a long story short, going to a Christian school and just the way my children were treated in a Christian school. And so there needs to be so many things. We need support. There's so many things that need to be put in place to help us because we need that support. I believe that we need to start keeping the dollars in the community. Start keeping the dollars in the community. I believe that a lot of these stores, a lot of these chains, these Targets and Walmarts, a lot of the places that I shop at, I believe a lot of them, maybe need to be boycotted because my thing is we're buying products here and there, and they're going right into the hands of the oppressor. And where they need to be here. They need to the money needs to be circulating so that we're able to provide for our families. So single women, single parents like myself don't have to struggle. Don't have to struggle. It's. I mean, there's so many things that have to change. Yes, we can police the police, but we need to. This has to start with us. We need leadership. We need real leadership. We need, how do I put this into words without having some haters here? We need black men to stand up. We need some black men, and I'm going to say it. We need some black men. We need some strong, dignified, black men, influential, black men that are willing to stand up for their community and for the children and women in it. Yes, we need that. And I also feel as if we are going after what's happening to us when it comes to police. But what's happening, what about black-on-black crime? I don't want us to leave that out. That needs to be dealt with too. The same way that we are holding these police officers accountable should be the same way we hold another brother accountable for taking the life of another brother. Let's hunt. Let's hunt. What I mean, let's go. Let's look for him the same way. Come on. We have to clean up our community. We can't expect them to clean up our community. It starts at home. It starts at home. And putting the black family back together. You know, is the black family has been through some of the most horrific things in the world, just being broken, just black men being removed out of the households. You know, you got to understand what has happened and for this divide to occur. Black men were removed out of the households, were denied jobs, they were laid off. You know, if a black woman was receiving welfare, she couldn't have the father of her children in the household, or else she would be cut from government funds. So, you know, that was all a ploy to separate us. And I mean, there's so many layers to it, Kia. I could go on and on and on and on, but I believe that it's going to take us to rebuild us. That's what I believe. And I believe that we must keep fighting. Don't silence yourself. I'm on social media under Music by Kia. That's my Instagram page. And I don't silence myself. I've been speaking about this even before George Floyd happened, or even before Sandra Bland happened. I've been speaking about this, and I don't want us to silence ourselves. We got these big entertainers out here. Hey, put it on your page. Put it on your page. You know, we need to speak about this. We talk about this. Our voices are valuable. And that's where I am with that. We need to fight. I mean, I'm talking about to fight mentally. I'm not talking about physically fight unless we have to. You know, unless we have to. But I'm talking about we need to fight, you know, and that's where I'm at.
I love it. We're not giving up. We're not stopping the fight. We are ready. Listen, we are ready to even build our own cities. It's time.
Please.
They tried their best to take away the cities that we built, and we got stronger. They didn't know. They thought wrong. It's all good, though. It's all good. I'm excited. I'm so excited to have this beautiful young lady here with me tonight. I want you to give out the rest of your contact information. We did get Music by Kia, your Instagram. Y'all go follow her right now, Music by Kia. Let's get the rest of your contact information so that we can follow you and all the great stuff.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you so much, Kia. I am on Instagram and Facebook under Music by Kia, and I spell my name with an E, K-E-A, and I'm on YouTube under Kia TV. Also, if you want to purchase, you know, or download any of these songs here, they're available on all streaming platforms. Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, CD Baby. They're everywhere.
I love it. We love it. We love it.
Thank you. And I'm on Twitter, too, under Music by Kia. I'm on Twitter under Music by Kia.
You cannot forget about Twitter. I love it. Seriously, Twitter's still one of those things that people don't talk about it a lot, but it's still bumping.
Yeah, it's still bumping. Even though I don't use it, Kia, I don't use it a lot.
Bumping.
But I'm still on there, and it's still bumping. Or if you want to know, you know what?
Make contact.
You are absolutely right. That's it. Or you know what? Or you can, I almost forgot here, my website here is under www.musicbykia.com. And if you want to email me, because, you know, I do talk to the people, Kia, I really do. You can email me at keamichaels@gmail.com, MICHAELS. You know, it's my goal to continuously connect with the people. That's it.
I love it. I love it. This is how you're going to continue to flourish and be the incredible artist that you are. Listen, we didn't even get to talk about everything. There's so many more amazing things. We're going to get you back on the show so that we can talk about the new release that's going to happen this summer. And please tell your youngest daughter, happy birthday.
I will. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed myself, and I can't wait to be back again.
Absolutely. When is your youngest daughter's birthday?
Her birthday is on the 26th. It was May.
Okay.
Was it May 26th?
My youngest daughter's is May 19th. I'm telling you, they
Oh,
got
get
so
outta
much. We
here.
got so much in common. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Thank you, Kia. So we're going to have to connect when we get off here. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to find
Absolutely.
you on Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
Yes, and I've already followed you on Instagram, so we're connected.
All right, Kia. There we go.
I love it. I love it. I'm
Thank
so
you.
very excited to have you on tonight. You guys go follow her on all of her social media platforms and check her out on her website. Get all of her music and continue to love on her and show her so much support. Every show she has, make sure y'all show up in drones. I cannot wait until COVID is lifted and we can all come back again and definitely bring you down to Texas so we can enjoy that music right here live.
Oh, my gosh, I would love to, and thank you so much. You have a beautiful, blessed evening. Thank you for having me.
You as well. The absolute thanks for being here. This is the After the Lights Go Out radio show right here on We Talk Radio Network. We just enjoyed the beautiful, beautiful sounds of soul singer and songwriter keamichaels. Don't go anywhere. We're going to play her song right now. That's my jam. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of this amazing show, and we got the